And Corinth was the largest, most cosmopolitan city in Greece at the time. The cities was like a melting pot, and it was filled with all kinds of idolatry and immorality. And what happened is, before long, so much in the church was being overtaken by so much of the culture. This constant desire for power and wealth in the city led to division and selfishness in the church. One writer said, the problem was not that the church was in Corinth, but that too much of Corinth was in the church. Because these words from God don't just apply to people 2,000 years ago. They apply directly to your life and my life and our life together today. Do you ever feel any pressure in your life to work harder, smarter, better, to get more position, more money, more status, more power, more influence in Washington? Do any of you as parents ever feel like you're running back and forth across the city from this school to that sport to this activity to make sure your child doesn't miss out? We're running after everything our culture says is important. And not all these things are bad by any means. A lot of these things are good, but none of them are God. What's going to be more important to us? What the world says is important, or what God's word says is important? Who or what are we going to worship? We've turned away from God in our lives. Looks different in each of our lives. We've all sinned against God. We're all separated from God by our sin. And if we die in this state of separation, we will experience God's judgment for our sin forever. But the good news is, so that anyone, anywhere who trusts in Jesus will be forgiven of all their sin and reconciled to relationship with God forever. Because now you and I are free from the need to look to money or power or position or status or sports or sexual expression to satisfy us. So what we have here is a letter written by Paul to the church at Corinth to remind them who they are and how God has called them to be a distinct community, displaying God's grace and truth amidst this culture around them. And Paul had gone to Corinth, he'd shared the gospel, and at first was really discouraged, even frightened because of threats against him. He was about to leave until Jesus came to him one night in a vision. Paul, don't be afraid. Keep on speaking the gospel. Don't be silent, because I have many people in this city. So Paul stayed there for about 1.5 years, and people came to Christ, and church was born. And here's the answer. Because the answer to a rapidly shifting culture is not to isolate ourselves in hibernation from the culture. No, we live in our culture, in the city, to show the love of Jesus to people all across the city. That's what the gospel means. It means good news. And that's good news we want to spread from the church across our culture so that people can know God. When the little g gods and idols of this world inevitably let them down, which they always will.